Florence Nightingale was educated by her father William, as was her sister Parthe. They were educated in composure by their mother Fanny. Both girls were charming and very well educated, and when it was time for them to find suitable husbands, there were choices aplenty. However, as a teen, Florence heard the voice of God telling her that she was meant to do great things, and she decided that she would not wed. This decision caused a huge rift between herself and her mother and sister. Fanny and Parthe tried to get Florence to accept suitors' proposals, and Florence tried dating them, but in the end, she rejected them all. Though Florence wasn't sure what her calling was supposed to be, she knew she wanted to help the ailing and bring compassion to people in some way. Baron von Bunsen illuminated her calling when she was in her early 20s. He told her of an institution in Germany called Kaiserswerth. It was an orphanage and also a place where women could learn to become nurses. However, nurses were not what we consider them now. Most nurses were prostitutes and drank copious amounts of alcohol. This being the case, her family refused to help her go to Kaiserswerth. Florence Nightingale suffered from extreme depression. She would spiral into a catatonic bedridden state several times in her life. These were due to extreme disappointments, not being allowed to follow her calling, or later not getting the necessary laws and bills passed to aid her causes. Even though she suffered from what appears to be bipolar disorder, she was humble and modest and persevered through her mental illnesses to achieve great movements for nurses and ill people. Florence Nightingale eventually shirked her family and their refusal to help her achieve her dreams. With the help of Selina Bracebridge, she left on a trip and then didn't return home. Instead, she went to Kaiserswerth and trained as a nurse. She learned all that she possibly could about hospitals before her time there and took in everything she could possibly learn. Sydney and Liz Herbert were monumental in helping Florence become the person she wanted to be. Liz recommended her to the superintendent at the Institution for the Care of Sick Gentlewomen in Distressed Circumstances. After that, it was a whirlwind of her nursing career. The Crimean War occurred and Florence Nightingale was recommended by Sydney Herbert to take 40 women over to be nurses and help in the Scutari Hospital. She managed to get 38 stoic women and then went. The doctors didn't trust them and it took days, and stew, to make inroads into helping the ailing soldiers. By the end of her time at Scutari, she had rebuilt parts of the hospital, earned the moniker the Lady with the Lamp because she would walk through the infirmary at night with a lantern to check on the ill, changed the way nurses were viewed and revolutionized sanitation in hospitals. Quite the feat for a woman of her time. Though her accomplishments were many and all that she had done would change the way the world viewed medical care, Florence was a humble woman. She traveled under assumed names so that she couldn't be recognized and wouldn't get hero welcomes and parades. All she wanted to do was serve her purpose and help people. Florence lived to be 90 years old and outlived all her family. She was buried quietly, as she requested, and though she didn't want notoriety or recognition for her accomplishments, she will never be forgotten for what she did for the field of nursing.